Moving on to example number dos. All right, so we're going to do some more simplifying here. And we're going to throw in some negatives. So I want to show you some examples, and then your textbook actually has a few rules. But I first want to just show some examples, and then I'll go over those official rules. And I think maybe you'll be able to make the connection a lot easier instead of first starting with the rules, because then you're like, dude, what the heck's the N and the A and all that. Okay, so let's start with the first one right here. Okay, we've already done something very, very, very similar to this. The square root of 36. Okay, the square root of 36 is just 6, because if I do 6 squared, that gives you 36. But wait a minute, there's no number right here. Normally there's a number right here, right? Well, the thing is that if there is no number right there, it's always a square root. Okay, so the 2 is invisible. It's like a little ghost. Oh, a little ghostly ghost right here. Ding. But it's a happy ghost. All right, so there's like a little ghost right here. All right, when there's no number, there's a 2. But like, for example, like over here, like on part D or C, see how there's a number right there? So that means we're going to use that power. But here, since there's no number, we're going to use 2. All right, going on to part B. Now check this out here. This is a negative times radical 36. So let's just first divide this into 2 parts here. Let's just do, this is multiply, right? Negative times this. So if I take the square root of 36, well, that's just 6, because we already established that right here. And then, but don't forget about the negative sign. It just goes along with it. So now this answer is going to be negative 36. Come down over here. The 4th root of 16. Again, that means what to the power of 4 is 16? It's going to be 2, right? 2 to the power of 4 is 16. So this answer would be 2. Coming over here. Again, this means negative times the 4th root of 16. Well, we just did, what is the 4th root of 16? Well, the 4th root of 16 is 2. Okay, we established that right here. But then don't forget about this negative sign. So just notice what's happening here. These are very, very, very similar, except these ones are positive, and this guy right here is going to be negative. Now check this guy out. Oh, snappers. Now we have a negative inside the radical right here. Crazy. Okay, so let's see if we can figure this out right here. This means, right, this means what to the power of 4 equals negative 16. Okay, now watch this nerdiness. It gets a little bit nerdy here, but I need you to understand this. So we need to multiply something times something times something times something, and it needs to give us a negative 16, right? That's what this means. Something to the power of 4. That means I multiply my same number 4 times and get negative 16. Well, we know that if I multiply 2 to the power of 4, that is a positive 16, right? Because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, maybe you're thinking, well, let's just put negative 16 in there. Oh, I'm sorry, negative 2. What's negative 2 to the power of 4? Well, again, so this means negative 2 to the power of 4 means negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Wait a minute. Let's check this out, y'all. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive quattro. And right here, a negative 2 times a negative 2 is a positive quattro. Right? So now we multiply 4 times 4, which is a positive 16. What? So we try positive 2, that's a positive 16. We try negative 2, and that's a positive 16. But wait, we're trying to get a negative 16. Okay, so this one, and I'm going to give you the rule here after we're done with these examples, but this one, the answer, there is no real answer. And real meaning that there is no number that you can find on the number line. There is no number that you can find that's going to make this true. Now, later on in this class, we're going to learn about imaginary numbers, like, Wonderland or going to Pinocchio or something like that, right? I mean, not like that kind of imaginary, but we are going to talk about real and imaginary. But in this case, basically, we're saying that there is no number. You can't find a number that you plug in right here, and that's going to give you negative 16. Okay, so hopefully you kind of understand by me demonstrating that I tried 2, I tried negative 2, and they both give you a positive 16, so it wasn't possible. Okay, and we'll write a rule for this on like how do you know when it's not possible? When can you identify it really quick? Okay, let's go right here. The fifth root of 243, again, that means what to the power 5 is 243. And this guy right here, let's see, it's going to be 3, I believe. No, let's see. Let me see, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I think it's 2. Let's see. That's going to give us 4, and that's going to give us 4, and that's going to bring down the 2. And then I get 16. Oh, okay, no, so it's not going to be 2. I think it'll be 3. I didn't do this one ahead of time. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9, and then I bring down the 3. 81 times 3. Ah, yes, so it's going to be 3 right here. Okay, so this one's going to be 3, so this one is just using, your calculator or something like that to get that guy. Ah, now check this guy out. This one's the fifth root of the square root of negative 243. So this means what to the power of 5 equals a negative 243. A little bit of the trickery right here. So this means what times what times what times what times what is 243. Okay, so we know to get positive 243 is going to be 3 because we established that right here, right? So we know that positive 3 will give us a positive 243. Now what happens if I plug in a negative 3? I wonder if that will give us a negative 243. Well, let's just do this by hand here. Again, if you have a calculator, you can do negative 3 to the power 5, and it'll just give you the answer right away. But we'll just show it here by hand. So negative 3 times a negative 3, all right? Negative times negative is a positive 9. Times, now let's multiply these guys together. Negative 3 is a 9. Times, and then we bring this guy down. 9 times 9, then 81, and then bring this down, times a negative 3. Oh, dang! That's a negative 243. Sweet. So that means that we can find a negative answer here, and so this one was a negative 3. Okay, so I want you to notice a few things here, and I'm going to show you the rule. Notice that when we took the fourth root of negative 16, there was no real answer. But when I took the fifth root of negative 243, there was an answer. Like, what's the difference between the two? And like, how do you know? Okay, well, this is what I want to show you now. So I want to come up here, and here's the nerdy rule. And I want you to look at these two cases real quick right here, okay? This isn't all that much important with the principal root. This is what I want to show you. If this is our problem, the nth root of a, check this out. If n is even, and a, okay, this a right here is negative, then the nth root of a is not a real number. For example, the one that we just did right now. Remember the one that was the fourth root of negative 16. Okay, let's check it. This stands for our n, right? Is n even? C. Okay, it is, right? I mean, look. And look, is our number a, is a negative? Well, yeah, look, it is negative. So since n is even and a is negative, you could automatically, you don't have to do any work. You just say there's not a real number, or, I mean, you could just say that there is no answer to this. Well, there's no real answer. We should probably say specifically, because later on we will actually get an answer. It's going to be imaginary. So we're going to say there's no real roots. Okay, so there's no real number. Okay. So you kind of want to know this format. If I have the nth root of a, if n is even and a is a negative number, there's no real number. And then come down here. If n is odd, it's right here. If n is odd, then there's going to be exactly one real root. And what I mean by that is, for example, say like the one that we did below, where it was the what was that? The fifth roots. No, it was the fifth root of 243. So the fifth roots of negative 243. Okay, so if n is odd, okay, it is, then there's going to be exactly one real nth root of a, meaning you're going to be able to find an answer here. Okay, so the only time that you cannot do it, that there is no answer, is when you have this case right here, you guys, when n is even and a is negative. But if you have something like this, then you're going to be able to find the answer, and this is just showing you that you could have a positive or a negative answer there.